1, 2. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. My name is Benji Messer. I use he, him pronouns. Today's service is inspired by the Jewish High Holy Days, which began on Friday night. So for our opening hymn, please stand and join me in singing Shabbat Shalom. We're not putting up the lyrics because they're just Shabbat Shalom. Here we go. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Hey, thank y'all.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Sam Kirkland. My pronouns are he, him, and I am your worship associate today. Join me as we recite our covenant, and Etta and Amory, our new child care workers, working with the kids in the back, come and light our chalice. If you have a chalice at home, please light it with us. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to share our strength in fellowship, thus do we covenant. I think it might be you.
Welcome. Good morning. Welcome home, dear ones, and welcome to worship. In all of the mysterious wonders that make up your uniqueness, and in all the beautiful traditions that shape your spiritual life, you are welcome here. I'm the Reverend Christine Dance. My pronouns are she and her, and it is an honor to serve as your minister. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, one that is theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. If you are new here, we are so glad you found us, and we hope you experience the warmth and love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to see the breadth of what we have to offer and what to really get to know us. And now, as Benji sounds the shofar, I know how to say this, shofar, in honor of our Jewish High Holy Days, I invite you to let it sound draw you deeper into the present moment and into our beloved community. In a congregation that has experienced a lot of grief lately, I am sad to be lighting 3 memorial candles this week, all for people who were pillars of our Phoenix area. John Boppert and Una Boppert both died on August 28th. John had been a member of UUCP since 1964, and Una was a member since 1975, just after she moved to Arizona. John was the president of Allied Signal, and Una was a director and teacher of a preschool teaching special needs children. Una organized and directed UUCP's very first full-year choir, and she also started our very famous choir cabaret. John, I understand, was instrumental in starting our first children's ministry program in this site. We had had others in other locations we had been. Both of them were very established in the Phoenix area, and their philanthropy impacted numerous arts organizations and the Desert Botanical Garden. There will be a service in the Boppert Courtyard at the Desert Botanical Garden this Saturday, the 23rd at 6 p.m. We have heard that they had wishes earlier to be interred in our memorial garden. If there are further details regarding that, we will let you know. And Ruth Waddell died on August 24th. Ruth and her husband, John Waddell, were very involved with UUCP until they moved to Cottonwood, and they were part of the Sedona congregation there. They were very close friends with Reverend Ray Manker, the minister here at the time. John Waddell was the sculptor behind the statues in our memorial garden and the dancing statues that grace the front of the Herberger Theater Center. And Ruth was his muse. She was also a very accomplished artist in her own right. Many people here at UUCP were often invited to their Cottonwood studios. Ruth and John, who we were supposed to memorialize here at UUCP in April of 2020, had a huge impact on Phoenix and UUCP. We remember these 3 beautiful humans who lived full and impactful lives, and we remember their impact on UUCP, on Phoenix, and in our hearts. Here at UUCP, we put our mission into action where we discover together what it means to be human. We have 2 announcements about the different ways that we are embracing joy and defining our future. After service today, your civic engagement and earth justice teams encourage you to stay after service to write and send out postcards to encourage voting in low propensity environmental voters. We will be at the back table right there in the sanctuary. Join if you can. And I would like to invite Sam and Herb to share more about our upcoming auction and give us a little bit of information around that.
All aboard. So this is a PSAA, a pulpit service auction announcement for our a pulpit service auction announcement for our November service auction.
Sam, I am. I think I'm supposed to come up and help you.
Oh.
Yes?
Herb, please introduce yourself to the congregation.
Shalom, everybody. Happy 5784.
I know that's right.
My name is Herb Tucker Kirkland, and Sam is my big brother. We're twin brothers from different mothers.
Exactly. So, Herb, could you state your pronouns?
Oh, I'm 100% pronoun. I've never been anti-noun. I'm even 100% pro-verb. I'm pro-verb.
Not what I meant. Tell us your pronouns, like he or him.
He, him.
Did you say that because I just said that, or why are your pronouns he, him?
Oh, my pronoun is him because I sing with the choir.
And the choir sings hymns?
Very good, but that's not it. I have a very low voice, and I sing with the hymns in the choir in the back.
Oh, now that sounds a little misogynistic.
No, I'm not misogynistic. I just am afraid to sing with the women in the choir because I'm afraid that they'll drive me to my death.
And how would they drive you to your death?
Hearse.
Oh, now stop that. All right. Now, if you are really up here to help me, why are you carrying that wood? Could you explain that?
Well, we have a special goal for this year's auction. Would it be possible to get everyone in the congregation to attend? What would it be like if everyone came for free food, free beverage? What would it be like if the auction was both a fundraiser and a friend raiser? Wouldn't that be loverly?
That would be loverly, but you would need a magic board to make that happen.
Well, the UUCP has a magic board of directors. However, for now, I'm going to use this board and our congregation to start the process of getting all to start committing to attend the auction.
So everyone is going to commit? I want to see this.
Well, it's all in the power of illumination. Everyone's gonna light up. Congregation, when I hold this board up, call out what it is. Remember, it's a board. All aboard. All aboard.
It works.
It works.
All aboard. Okay, so I'm supposed to read the details about the auction, but I don't know exactly where they are. I know it's on the 11th, And it's the theme
November?
is November the 11th. Sorry,
What? What?
I'm putting you out there.
November the 11th. And the best thing about it is there will not be puns at the November 11th auction. Did I hear a cow out there mooing? Sam and Duke of Earl are going to be the MCs, and they will be the entertainers. Now, there are a lot of ways for you to get involved in this auction. We want you to attend. We especially want all the people watching via the electronic network to
The
attend.
Zoomies.
We want you to come and have a great time. We're going to feed you. We're going to provide you with free beverages, free jokes. And if you want to get involved, you can get involved in addition to planning to attend by planning to donate something to the auction. Now, don't get confused. It's donate, it's not don't eat. You can volunteer some kind of a program that you would take people to, like maybe you'd have them sign up to go to your auction item, and it would be a trip to the beautiful Desert Botanical Gardens. Did you know that there's one day each month where they allow people to come for free? It wouldn't cost you a dime to organize this. Take everybody to the Desert Botanical Gardens and arrange for a tour guide, and everybody will have a fantastic time. And it will cost you nothing except the organization. Or maybe
An event at your home, game night, movie night. My wife and I and Duke and Susan, we've hosted a wonderful game night traditionally, and and think of things that that would broaden our beloved community. That's what I'm going to suggest.
because we want everybody to become all.
Yes, there you go.
Okay. This morning we are exploring the wisdom of the Jewish New Year. Our opening words are, "Let us be awestruck," from Reverend Kristen Grassel-Schmidt. The Jewish New Year commemorates the creation of the world, the bringing forth of order where once there was only chaos, the birth of the building blocks of life. As Jews within and beyond these walls begin to celebrate the days of awe, let us all celebrate. Let us marvel. Let us be awestruck. For the same force that brought our planet into being, the same force that evolved tiny atoms and molecules and DNA into intelligent life, the same power that transformed summer into autumn and autumn into winter, that same power is still at work in the universe and in us, always bringing about new seasons, new creations, new possibilities. Breath of life, breathe in us, with us, and through us this day. As we gather, one in community, one in commitment to truth, love, and justice, open our minds and hearts to the new that's always being created. Come, my friends, let us celebrate, let us marvel, let us be filled with awe. Come, let us worship together. Thank you.
So I'd like to invite our kids to come up. Come on up. Thanks, Addie. You're so enthusiastic. Here they come. You're going to sit right there? That's awesome. Awesome. You all look wonderful this morning. How are you? Yeah? Are we good? There's some people who look tired. Yeah? There's some people who look very excited. So I want to invite Benji up here because he's got something very special. Did you all hear how he started the service? Did you see this? This is called a shofar. And he's going to blow it for us now, and we're going to talk a little bit about the story about where that comes from. So do you want to do that? Wow. And that's a ram's horn. Did you know that? Like, that's what that instrument is. You can make instruments out of all kinds of cool stuff. So I want to tell you one story to kind of set up the second story. And I'm playing the role of Miss Katie today because you know what? It's her birthday. So she's off. So if you have any way of telling Miss Katie happy birthday, we can send it through all of our energy. So I want to tell you about a king who went hiking in the forest. And he found something beautiful over there and decided to go after it and chase it. But all of a sudden then he was chasing and he was looking and he was lost. And so he had to figure out how to get back home. And he kept going up to people and they didn't recognize him as the king and they were mean to him and they didn't give him any help on how to figure out to go home. And so he'd go over to somebody else. Will you help me? No, they didn't help. I know you would. I know you would. You're too kind. Would you help me? No. No. Would you help me? No. Wow, not even much of an interest there. So, but then he heard a noise. What was that? He heard this beautiful melody that someone was playing on a flute. So he followed that sound and he came across an older woman and started talking to her. And that older woman recognized that it was the king and started taking care of him and figuring out how could we get this king back home, and spoke to him with great respect and great kindness. Addie, would you play the king? Would you be nice to me? Yeah? Would you be playing, do you know how to play a flute? You can pretend you're playing a flute. Like you can hold an instrument or this. Perfect. That's a perfect flute. So the king saw the kindness in this woman and felt at ease with her and so grateful. I'm so grateful for you, Addie. When he told the woman that he was helping to meet someone that would help lead him out of the woods and back to his palace, Addie was happy to do it, and the king was even more grateful. Would you like to come with me to my palace, Addie? Yes, okay, and we come all over. And then so when Addie got to the palace, the king was so grateful and gave her new clothes and fancy things and a place to live at the palace, all as a sign of his esteem for her. Many months later, Addie just had a little slip. She made a mistake. Everyone does it. We're all human. And it was a rule that she didn't know was a rule at the palace. She didn't think it was a big deal, but it was to some of the king or people around the king. And the king heard about it and became very angry and ordered Addie to come see him in his throne room. Now, Addie was kind of confused, and she wasn't sure what happened to her trusted friend, who they had been such good friends and so kind with each other. So on the day that she was to show up at the king's throne, she took off all of the fancy clothes, and she put on the regular clothes that she had first met him with, the simple, plain clothes when they had met. And she brought her flute. Do you want to do the flute symbol again? Yes, perfect. And so when she went in front of the king with a lot of kindness in her heart and her humility, the king asked if she had anything to say. And Addie said, "Permit me, your majesty, to play a melody on my flute." And she started playing the beautiful melody that she had played on that day when they had met the first time. And the king remembered it, and he remembered all of the love that he had felt in his heart and how grateful he was for Addie and how Addie had helped her get out of the forest back to the palace. The king immediately remembered his friendship, and the music made him remember his gratitude, and he restored that relationship with his friend, and they were good friends again. Good job, Addie. Good job. So that's one story, but I'm hoping that that will help a little bit as you understand the meaning of blowing the shofar. For what the story is of the High Holy Days for Jews is very similar to that story. So who knows what the Holy Book is for Jewish people? Does anyone know? Yeah. Yeah. It's called the Torah. Perfect. The story is that God wanted to give the Torah to humans, kind of like the king looking for people, and went around and tried giving it to a whole bunch of people, and everyone's like, no, I don't want that. No, that's too much pressure. I do not want to do that. But then God turned to the Jewish people, and they accepted the Torah with a promise to hold it sacred and to follow the message in the holy words. A ram's horn, that's what the shofar was blown to celebrate the promise that was being made that day. So accepting the Torah, blowing the shofar at the same time was kind of tied together. And where did Benji? Oh yeah, that one. Do it again, because we like it. We have accepted the Torah. So when Rosh Hashanah comes, which started Thursday and goes through yesterday, the Jewish people believe that all of their actions of the year are weighed, kind of like weighing your good deeds and your bad deeds, but also how kind you've been to others. According to the story, God was judging the Jewish people, but now many Jews also believe that they are reviewing their own conscience and taking inventory of their own hearts to see how they have done with their deeds of the year. So the shofar serves the same thing as the flute that Addie was playing. It's a symbol of how the Jewish people were when they received the holy message from God. It's a reminder of how they were on that day, a reminder to the commitment that the people made, and also it's a little bit of reminder to God of, remember, we are those really kind people. Remember, recognize us. So whether it's a good way to remind the Jewish people of their original generosity or commitment, or it's a way to remind God, or whether it is a reminder to the Jewish people of the commitments that they make to each other to be kind, the shofar is a symbol of returning back to that great day in Sinai, accepting the commitment of love and starting a new year with love and good health and happiness. So Benji, can you do it one more time and get us right solidly in the mood? Wow, it sounds just like a flute, right? Yeah, thank you.
Each week, we practice generosity as a source of joyful living by splitting our offering plate with UUCP and a local organization that shares our values. For September, our Share the Plate partner is UMOM, New Day Centers. From emergency shelter to affordable housing, UMOM offers vital services rooted in a foundation of trust and proactive support for people experiencing housing insecurity in the Valley. Their unique approach is empathetic, connection-focused, and individualized to every person, recognizing that each situation requires a personal touch and a listening ear. Together with you, Mom, we can create and nurture relationships of care and respect because we need one another. For all that you give, we are so grateful. Ushers, thank you for your willing hand in helping to pass our baskets.
It is an important practice in this community to make time to share pieces of our lives with each other. We do this because each person has value and each person's experience matters. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, all of you matters. If you are on Zoom and wish to share a joy or a sorrow, please type it into the chat with a brief note of what's in your heart today out loud. And if you're in the sanctuary, there are joys and sorrow cards on the table there in the back. As we enter this sacred space to amplify our joys and lessen our sorrows with communal care, let us center ourselves with a moment of stillness. As our joys and sorrows come in, I want to acknowledge a couple of things. One is that yesterday was the 60th anniversary of the bombing of the church in Birmingham, Alabama, that killed 4 little girls, Denise Manair, Carol Robertson, Cynthia Wesley, and Addie Mae Collins. The statues in our memorial garden by John Waddell, who was the husband of Ruth Waddell, who we honored earlier, were made to commemorate that event with hopes that we could envision a better world. May we continue to work to remember them and work for that world. And I just want to acknowledge the tremendous loss of life in both Libya from flooding and the dam collapse, and the earthquake in Morocco. These natural disasters that are happening more often and more severely, may we not minimize just how much human suffering there is because of these, even though they are multiplying. On our online folks, from Amy Miskell, a concern. Mark Schmitz, former UUCP member, was hospitalized within days of finishing his radiation treatments. He has had low white cell counts, and he's hopeful to go home this week. His sibling Chris and their spouse have flown to Phoenix to support Mark and his partner. Please send them healing energy. Also want to let you know, and Dan Coleman lets us know with Roy's knowledge, that Roy Miller is in St. Joe's. He's got a number of serious infections, and we're worried about him. And also from Amy Miskell, a joy. This week I turned 61. In 2020, I didn't think I would make it to 61. Happy birthday. We have here, we've got 2 joys. Penelope Davis, where's Penelope? Where's P? There's Penelope. Says, I got the part of a little angel in the Nutcracker, so I will be performing in the Nutcracker. So congratulations, Penelope. Also a joy from Joan Gale. Joan, are you here today? There's Joan. Yes, about her husband, Bill Snowden. Bill Snowden had surgery this past week. He is recovering nicely from hernia surgery on Friday, and he would appreciate any texts, emails, any good wishes. And to you too, Joan. Much love to you both. And we have a sorrow from Sam Kirkland and Michelle. Sam says, my father is starting hospice care at home. Prayers and well wishes are truly appreciated gratefully. And so much love to you and Michelle, as you both have been carrying so much, and yet you are still here offering and giving to our congregation. Thank you, Sam. Our hearts are with you. We acknowledge all the joys and sorrows that lie in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May we be reminded that even in our silence, we are bound together in this interdependent web of life. In all of the ways that we are a community, we send our love to each other. Let us send them to our folks online, our roomies, our Zoomies, all of us together, knowing that we are one community. For our prayer this morning, in honor of the High Holy Days and our present moment, we are going to do a singing meditation. Rosh Hashanah is the first of these days of awe and is the beginning of the Jewish New Year. The last day is Yom Kippur, often known as the Day of Atonement. So the whole period is about forgiveness and starting fresh again in love. Benji, can you sing us the refrain?
Sure. And goes, we forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love. And the melody is, we forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
You want to try it a couple of times? Maybe we can get there?
Sure, sing it with me. We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love. Once more. We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
As we repeat this refrain, I invite you to settle in, to be in the tender, loving presence of one another, and to recommit ourselves in the mindfulness of song and prayer.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
For the selfishness that sets us apart and alone.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
For losing sight of our unity.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
We forgive ourselves and each other, we begin again in love.
Let us just take a moment and soak that in. So might it be.
Today's reading is At One by Victoria Stafford. And I would like to thank Reverends Christine and Brigitte for handling me with such love and tenderness at this tremendously difficult time in my life and in the lives of our family. Imagine this. On the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, every fall, every year, the people make their peace with anyone they have wronged or slighted or injured or in any way neglected in the past 12 months. The task is not to patch things up, smooth things over, reach a compromise, or sweep mistakes and uneasy memories under the rug. The task is not to feel better. The task is ownership. The goal is truth for its own redemptive sake. I did this. I said this to you, and it was wrong. I neglected this. I botched this. I betrayed you thusly. I demeaned you, whether you ever knew it or not. This is the truth in which both of us are living. I ask you to forgive me. Imagine how many deep breaths you would need to take. Imagine how many doors you'd have to knock on, how many phone calls you'd have to make, how many letters, how many lunches and coffees, how many awkward moments with your children and your parents and with strangers, that cashier to whom you spoke so sharply. Awkward is irrelevant. The task is not about comfort. It is about truth, about wholeness and holiness, restoration. Imagine this. Someone has been preparing all year to speak with you, to write to you, to ask you a hard question. Perhaps in some way not quite conscious, you have even known this, and you have been preparing too. Finally, you answer the door or the phone or open the letter with shaky hands, and there it is, what you thought you've been longing for but really have dreaded. Someone is asking your forgiveness. The task is not about comfort. It is about truth. Awkward is irrelevant. You get to choose now. You have to choose whether and how you will participate in restoration. Abandon the pleasant piety that claims knee-jerk forgiveness as the unquestioned moral course. You get to choose which way will be right in this case, between you as persons and with all your gods. What response will make the world more whole? Imagine something yearns in us to come round right. Something creaky, rusty, heavy, almost calcified within us tries, in spite of us and all of our fears and self-deceptions, to turn and creep and turn again and come around a little truer. Something in us stretches toward conversion. Imagine healing wholly from within.
I did have a career before ministry. And in that career, one of my mentors, her name was Ellen Gladstein, still is Ellen Gladstein. She taught me how to be a professional facilitator. She was in charge of my training, gently guiding me to bring out my own style while also teaching me the elements of facilitation that were non-negotiable. She was a brilliant facilitator, one who could delicately guide clients to the outcome they desired while leaving them imagining that they had done it all themselves. She could be brash and abrupt herself at times, and she could also be charming and kind. I liked her, I respected her, and I was a bit intimidated by her. Among many of her identities, she was also Jewish. The Jewish holidays were very important to her and her family. I didn't know exactly what her family traditions were, but I knew that she had strict rules about when she could and couldn't work around Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So I was surprised to see her in the office one day between the two holidays. She came into my office and closed the door. She said she was nervous, and she looked it. She was here to talk with one of the owners of the company, who could be just as brash and abrupt as herself, and who butted heads with her often. She said that she was there as part of her atonement ritual, of taking inventory of all the wrongs she had done over the year and to acknowledge them and do the work to do it right. I was like, what? You can do that? You want to do that? That sounds scary as hell. And with him? And you? And yeah, I was nervous for her too. I was not entitled to receive the rundown of what was said, how it went, or what came from it. That wasn't any of my business. But the fact that she did it at all made a big impression on me. And the fact that her faith called her to do it made an even bigger one. And the fact that she had the commitment to her faith and the courage to live into it made me respect her even more. Now, I grew up Protestant Christian, not Jewish, but I do remember many aspects of confession, atonement, and absolution in my childhood. Anyone else have any such memories? I remember the prayers where we asked for forgiveness, the Lord's Prayer being the main one. I remember my Catholic friends who went into a little booth for confession with 2 doors, and I remember them coming out with a list of things that they had to say or do to make it better. I remember the number of sermons and prayers and bumper stickers and such naming me as a sinner and calling me to atone for it in a multitude of ways. Most of them meant asking a higher power for forgiveness and waiting until that higher being judged me and then granted it to me or didn't. Honestly, it was one of the things that I was grateful to get rid of when I left Christianity and became a Unitarian Universalist. I let go of original sin completely and wholeheartedly embraced that each and every one of us is full of worthiness and dignity from the moment that we are born until the moment that we die and beyond. I let go of the idea that I needed to reach out to a deity figure outside of myself and subject myself to judgment or ask for forgiveness. That act became something that I had to do myself in order to be in relationship with myself or with somebody else. I completely rejected the idea of absolution, that someone else, whether it be a deity out there or a religious professional, can absolve me of my wrongdoings. Admittedly, I was quite pleased with my decision to be so enlightened as to be relieved of that burden of atonement. Except that I didn't do it myself. I did it in relationships, but only when I really had to, like when I was clearly wrong and when I wanted to be in that relationship, so I had to come back and say, yeah, I really screwed up, I'm sorry. Or when my conscience was bugging me so much that I was like, yeah, I really should own up to this. But I really didn't have it as any other practice. I did it only when I had to. I threw out the baby with the bathwater, as that horrible expression goes that I'm going to use several times this morning. I had lost the spiritual practice of looking at where I'd come up short and dedicating myself to trying to make it right. I had thrown out absolution that someone out there could absolve me, but I never replaced it with the true art of atonement, examining myself with a dedication to reconciliation where needed. And it's not just me. Our whole Unitarian Universalist denomination did that. Many of you know that the Unitarians and the Universalists both historically come from progressive Christianity. Universalists in particular had a progressive take on Christianity that all souls were saved. None were condemned to hell, but forgiveness and atonement were still a core part of their belief system. A few years ago, UU musician Jason Shelton did a quick study of Unitarian Universalist hymnals to trace the presence of liturgies of confession and repentance over time. He cast a wide net, anything that related to community or individual willingness to explore our moral challenges. It turns out that in our 1937 hymnal, there were numerous liturgical readings, responsive readings, and hymns that, quote, drew us into acknowledging our shortcomings and compel emotion forward and towards our better selves. Here's one of the liturgies from 1937, remember. Before the wonders of life, we acknowledge our failures to see and to revere. Before the sanctities of life, we are ashamed of our disrespects and indignities. Before the gifts of life, we own that we have made choices of lesser goods. And here today, seek the gifts of the Spirit. Before the heroisms of life, we would be enlarged to new devotion. But then came the revised hymnal of 1964, the one that came just after the Unitarians and the Universalists merged in 1961 in the midst of the humanist and the modernists movements. And do you know how many prayers of confession, theistic, atheistic, or otherwise there were? 0. 0. Liturgically speaking, by 1964, we were on our own. Baby gone, with bathwater. Nancy MacDonald Ladd is a Unitarian Universalist minister in the Fairfax, Virginia area and author of After the Good News, Progressive Faith Beyond Optimism. It's a terrific book that Brigitte gave me about how our theology needs to go beyond the optimism of humans, that humans are just inherently good, and that we need to really struggle with some of the messier parts of life. She puts an entire chapter on atonement as one of the practices that we need to reclaim. She said that, quote, right about the same time that the Unitarian Universalists forgot how to atone as part of the collective spiritual life of our churches, we also seem to forget that a deep and difficult existence reckoning is important in the work of the church itself. We got so busy living life each Sunday that we forgot to authentically examine it. Atonement is complicated and messy and risky work. It requires trust and moving outside of ourselves to create authentic relationships. But it is also a way to create real meaning inside of ourselves. In order to be in those authentic relationships, we need to acknowledge that sometimes we are not our best. And the result is a deeper and more meaningful understanding of ourselves and each other. MacDonald Ladd invokes the Jewish High Holy Days and reminds us that, quote, atonement can be the very beginning of a new kind of freedom. Freedom from guilt and shame, replaced by honest reckoning and active commitment. She quotes Rabbi Lawrence Kushner and says that instead of turning our backs on our wrongdoing, we are called to look directly at and find the new life that waits right there within our dust and ashes. Rabbi Kushner says that at the time of atonement, we go down into ourselves with a flashlight, looking for the evil we have intended or done, not to excise it as if it were some alien growth, but rather to discover the holy spark within it. MacDonald Ladd says we have the opportunity to look back to some of our past religious practices that hold us accountable to lament and atonement and right relationship. Rob Eller Isaacs, who wrote the words of the meditation that we just sang earlier, believed it was the role of the congregation to create settings for this complex and meaningful work. So where do we find those for ourselves? How do we care for the baby amidst the bathwater and reclaim the rituals of atonement? Is that up to just me as your minister? Maybe some. But also, how do we work that into our daily life or yearly reflection? I'll tell you one place outside of the church where atonement is a key ritual: in recovery groups, especially those that use the 12 steps. I see a number of you smiling. It's like, oh, I've done this work. The 9th step calls those in recovery to, quote, make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. The Guardian Recovery Network explains step 9 thusly. In step 9, we make amends to the individuals and institutions we have harmed. And amends is not merely a verbal apology. It is both an admission of wrongdoing and the sincere intention to change the behavior in ourselves that caused such harm. Amends can come in many forms. They can be a sit-down and apology, an honest, heartfelt letter, a financial reimbursement, an act of service, or what is called a living amends, an agreement to live differently in the future. The amends process can be a very healing process for both ourselves and our loved ones. By cleaning our side of the street, we will find new self-confidence, a sense of integrity, and intimacy with others. So let me be perfectly clear. Atonement is not about bashing ourselves or making us feel bad or just going, oh, I'm so terrible, I'm so sorry. That's passive-aggressive atonement, and it doesn't help, right? It is not about feeling guilty or ashamed. Nor is it the half-hearted apologies that politicians and celebrities give when they've found to be hypocritical, and they do it just because their PR person tells them that they have to do it for their reputation. No, it's something much deeper and authentic. It is about looking at how we human our way through life. It is recognizing with both grace and humility that we are not perfect. Surprise, we're not, which is realistic and reasonable. It is not just about looking inwards. Instead, it is about looking outwardly towards our relationships and seeing where we can make them more authentic and where we can learn more about ourselves in a truly authentic way and honestly. In the days of the Jewish days of awe and atonement, some Jews go through this process with the hope that when they stand before God and have Him judge them, they will be judged favorably because they have done this work. More progressive Jews may not believe that the judgment moment happens outside there or even are doing it for an external God, but for their own sense of internal morality. But it is part of their liturgical year nonetheless, a critical part of what it means to be a person of the Jewish faith and tradition. Maybe we can find an authentic way to bring that back to our senses of being. Maybe it is a holy child we can reclaim from the dirty bathwater of our religious pasts. Maybe it is a tool for living more holistically. And maybe it is a way to have more authentic relationships with each other. Maybe. May it be.
Thank you, Christine. Amen. For our closing song, I have a song that I don't know if it's perfectly on topic, but I've been meaning to teach it to y'all for years. And I'm doing a fair amount of that before my sabbatical. And this one is by a wonderful Jewish song leader named Batya Levine. So since we haven't done it together before, I'll start it off alone, and then once you've heard a verse and chorus, I'll invite you to stand and sing with us. Of course, if you know it, feel free to come in. All right, it's called We Rise. We rise, humbly hearted, rise, won't be divided, rise, with Spirit to guide us, rise. Here's the chorus. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, let's stand. In prayer, we're right here, and we rise. All of the children rise. Elders with wisdom rise. Ancestors surround us rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise up from the wreckage, rise with tears and with courage, rise fighting for life, rise in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're in hope, in prayer. We're right here, and we rise. Humbly hard, we rise. Won't be divided, rise. With spirit to guide us, rise.
You can stay standing if you want. We encourage you to come continue being human with us with some coffee. Adult and children's activities begin at noon, and we hope that you will gather to connect here in the sanctuary or meaningfully connect at coffee hour. To those who are celebrating the high holy days, Lashana Tova. May we all begin anew. May we all find ways to look at our humanity in humble ways so that we can be authentically in relationship with each other. And through it all, may our hearts be open in love. Go in peace, go in love.